Definitely, we are inclining a little bit towards buyer's market. There are no blind dates in real estate. What are you looking in an agent? What do you think your agent should have?
40 to kind of 60 days to sell a property at the moment.
A lot of people who are planning to upgrade for school zones, the premium price in every suburb, if you technically look at it, has always been achieved by auction. So why should we sell it any other way?
The
Property Podcast.
Welcome back. It's the Property Podcast in the studios of Harcourts New Realty. And boy, geez, I have a young gentleman here that was heading to an appraisal in the area, and I said, I need 10 minutes of your time. We're going to chat. It's Harsh Kathuria, part of Team Harsh and Ash. Welcome on the podcast.
Thank you, Craig. Thanks a lot for those nice words, and thank you. Appreciate it.
Wish you well on the appraisal that you're about to go to.
Thank you.
I just
always be closing.
You don't need luck. So Harsh is probably one of the best in our business, and one of the best agents in South Auckland, I would suggest. I just thought we'd have a chat with Harsh and see how his business is going. Harsh, we know the market has changed in recent times. Just talk to us about the market and what you're finding in your business at the moment.
It's a very good question. Yes, the market has evolved, changed a lot. I think especially in last 3 years, every 6 months there is a new challenge that comes in the market, and it's a great challenge in terms of for an agent to actually show his skills to the sellers. That if you are sitting there and you're saying all those big words that you're going to perform, how are you going to perform is the most important part. Because it's one thing to say and the other thing is to perform and bring it to the table. So understanding the market as well prior to it evolving and then you getting affected by it, I think understanding it well in advance is the most important part. Yeah.
And then pivoting as to what do you change about your approach?
100%.
And I guess for people that may be watching that aren't kind of catching what I'm talking about is that for agents that have been in the business only for a few years, won't have seen all of the cycles of real estate and that. And by that I mean, I guess, a seller's market where property is flying out the door. You don't really need to think too much about how you're marketing the properties, what language you're using, through to a balanced market. And would it be fair to say what we're entering in, or we're already in a buyer's market where there's more properties on the market but fewer buyers, so buyers are, I guess, spoiled for choice?
Definitely we are inclining a little bit towards buyer's market, but I have always believed in one thing, that how do we actually calibrate that? Yes, there are more properties on the market, but on the other side, the interest rates are dropping significantly. So you see the banks are allowing people to be a little more lenient in terms of lending. So I personally believe that a lot more people are getting on the property ladder more comfortably as well, because the 5% deposit kicked in. And now that's another way of, or angle. Actually, it's a very good question. I was asking one of the home buyers at the open home I was doing, and I asked them, how do you feel about the 6.79% of interest rate for 2 years? And he said, what do you mean by that? I said, well, it was 3%, 4%. And his answer was, I've never seen the 3%. I've just started looking now. For me, 6.79 is just the rate. It is. Yes, I do know that it's only going to go downwards from here, but the good thing will be I'll be well geared up for that. Once the market shifts. So I think the number of buyers are also increasing, and people who are very realistic and have got good stories for their property, why they're selling. The why is important. Why I became an agent, or why this thing is happening, why you're selling. The story is the major factor.
That's true. Like you mentioned story, actually, if you're signing up or interested to become a real estate agent, you're actually signing up to become a really good storyteller.
That's
right?
so true, yeah.
Just talk a little bit more about that and how that plays out in the marketing piece of marketing a property.
Storytelling is, I think you've put it in the best words possible. If you're becoming an agent these days, it's not just about rocking up in a suit anymore. You have to understand the why the owners are selling, and then portraying and putting it out there in the market in the nicest form possible. That because there are only few questions the buyers are going to ask you. What's the price and why the owners are selling?
What do they want and why are they selling?
Exactly. Yeah. In terms of price, I've always believed that buyers are well educated. there are no blind dates in real estate. They do their research with 50 websites, and they know what's selling in the area. The why is something that they don't know. I mean, we had properties. I've just listed a few homes, and one of the owners are actually retiring and moving back to Rarotonga, and that's a beautiful story to tell. Selling after 28 years, moving to Rarotonga, and there's 100% seriousness in it. They are going to sell. Those things actually bring attraction these days. So if you're an agent, you can't just rock up and brag about how good you are and you're wearing a suit, but it's about knowing what's the story, why they bought the place as well. That's another story that is important. I've recently listed a property, and I asked the clients, perfect, thank you, but they said that this is something that is wrong in our home, we believe. I said, but why you bought it? What was the motivation when you bought the house? And they said, we didn't care. All we wanted was a nice family home for our kids with an 800 square meter section. I said, perfect. That's the story. That's something the next person should be looking at.
Asking the right questions and that appraisal piece. I mean, the appraisal you're going to now, you just talked about talking about all of your achievements and going on the top this, on the top that. If you're watching this, Harsh won the Rising Star Harcourts New Zealand auctioneer. I mean, I would be like thinking, I'm going to talk all that stuff up, but actually, that's not that important. What's more important is understanding your client and what their needs are.
Yes, 100%. I think when the clients call you and you're sitting with them in their lounge, they're discussing why they're selling and what's the plan from here onwards, what they want, what they expect out of you. You're already in that place. Yes, you don't need to brag at that time that this, I've done hundreds of this, I've got top 20 in the northern region, or I'm the number one in the country for auctioneering, because they've seen all that. Everything is available online.
Yeah,
you're sitting there now because they have trusted you, that, okay, this person is something who's standing out of the crowd. I've always believed in one thing, and I tell my clients a lot, that appraisal is something that it's just worth the piece of paper it's printed on. It's just comparable sales. Anyone can click 5 or 10 buttons and prepare that. Most important thing that we have is us. What do you expect from me? What are you looking in an agent? What do you think your agent should have when you're selling the property? Because it's going to be a long journey. If you technically look at it, average days right now is sitting about 4 to 6 weeks. And then there's a settlement after 2 months, roughly. There's a 4-month-long process. You will have hundreds of questions that will cross your mind, because you might be selling it once in 10, 15, 20 years, but the agent is doing it every week. So ask him all the questions, and you have to be comfortable with the agent to ask him all the questions. So bragging is something that I personally, yes, if it comes up, we discuss about it, so that just to give them a surety that, yes, they are in safe hands. I'm not someone who's an imposter, but who is just wearing a Harcourts tie and rocked up. But yes, it does help. There's no denying a fact, but that's not the major point that we discuss at the appraisal.
I'm going to ask you, of the people that you're speaking to, the property owners, why are they selling? But I just wanted to touch on that 40 to kind of 60 days to sell a property at the moment. It's probably leaning more towards the kind of the 60 mark, I would imagine, in some parts of Auckland. That can be really, it may sound like quite a short time frame, but there's a lot of fatigue that can come with selling a property after 60 days. I just want it to be done, to be able to move on. Would that be kind of fair comment?
Yes, definitely. That is one of the factors that come in play. But I think we keep our clients well, give them a whole lot of information as to every week what's happening with their campaign. I think as an agent, that's the most important, because your clients just don't want you to hang them up for dry and not discuss that how the campaign is progressing every week. They want to know, okay, there are 3 people came through, Mr. and Mrs. Window, these things didn't work in the campaign. Let's change things up. Let's stir things up a little bit. Of course, if you're doing a particular campaign and you're not getting anyone through in the 3 weeks, and you're telling the client in the 4th week, of course, it builds frustration. But if the client is well aware every week what is happening, then it's no surprises for them on the auction day, or on the last day. They are well aware that, okay, as we have put the house on the market, I've just put a house on the market actually about 3 weeks ago. And the day we listed the property, the number of average days for a property to sell was sitting at 29. Right now it's sitting at 41.
Wow.
But the owners are well aware of that. Every week they are made aware of that situation, and they are mentally they're gearing themselves up that, okay, 40 days, it's what it's going to take. And they understand, because you don't stay behind the curve by telling them what recent sales are, because that's not important anymore suddenly. It's about what staying ahead of the curve is important. That, okay, how many more properties are coming on the market, because that's your competition.
And how are they priced? Are they,
Exactly, yes. Yeah. What's the motivation, and why are they selling? Because someone who can be down the road a little more desperate to sell, there could be a lot that can happen with your campaign too at the same time. You just have to strike the iron when it's hot. You just, if a buyer comes along and you have a decent number to work with, don't let the buyer go.
So tell me, why are they selling at the moment, Harsh? Like, what, the people you're talking to, what are they up to, the sellers? Is there a theme?
Yeah, I think it's pretty evident. We all know that. The theme is mostly people are, we sell, I would say 60% or 50% of them are planning to move to Australia. However, there is a slight dynamic change that has happened in last 1 month, I believe. A lot of people who are planning to upgrade for school zones, that's another driving factor that has come in the picture, because a lot of people who are moving from one particular school zone to the different one where the prices can go up significantly. Like, for example, if you move from Mission Heights or Flatbush to East Tamaki Heights, the price dynamic difference is too much. So people who, I think education is important as well. We are educating, we put a lot of videos on TikTok educating people that if you buy and sell in the same market, it's actually perfect, because you don't want to sell high, but what's the point? You'll buy high as well. You're taking more mortgage on yourself. It's 6%. So people who are smart, they're understanding that, okay, now is the time to make a move to a bigger home or a better school zone.
What happens to auctions in this market? Are you all of a sudden pivoting to other methods of sale, or auctions working for you?
What are the methods of sale? So when you are an agent and your client hires you, your job is, your fiduciary duty is to work in the best interest of the sellers and the clients, which means that you have to propose the best selling method in the market.
Yeah, I really like how you said sellers. Like, so many people would sit in that chair and go, vendor, vendor, vendor. And it, like, to the person watching this podcast, potentially means absolutely nothing to them, right?
Yeah.
Like all this real estate speaks. But sorry to butt in.
You're absolutely right. I like the word sellers more. It fits perfectly more than vendors. Vendor is, absolutely right. This is just me. But 100%, your job is to actually represent your clients to the best of your abilities. How are you going to do that? By bringing the team together. Bringing the team of top auctioneer who has negotiated for 20 plus years, called hundreds of thousands of auctions, and your expertise. Because I always tell my clients that auction is just a way of finding a cash unconditional buyer, and people work well when they're given a deadline. It's just like boarding a plane next week. You're flying to Queenstown, and I tell you that Wednesday 12 p.m. you have a flight. You'll mentally gear yourself up for Wednesday. You're not going to say, I'll go on Thursday. I'll just hop on the plane and go, because it just doesn't work that way. It's same as the case with the auction. You give people a deadline. This is the deadline. We've got a nice home. The marketing is on point. You've got the best marketing done to the place. That's the only way to find the highest price possible in the market with no strings attached. There's no slicing and dicing of prices behind closed doors. It's an open arena negotiation. You get to see the market in real time. If we don't get the price, whatever you are after, that's okay. We put fair asking price and work with the conditional market from there onwards. But I don't lose any enthusiasm if the property doesn't sell at the auction. But I do know that a lot of sellers do feel, and I think the agents feel as well, once the property doesn't sell at the auction, they kind of lose the momentum, which is where it should not be that way. Looking at the average days, for the property staying on the market. The premium price, every premium price in every suburb, if you technically look at it, has always been achieved via auction. So why should we sell it any other way?
Yeah.
What's the other methods of sale? I don't know.
And if it doesn't sell at auction, I guess, like, what's your play at that point? Is it to go to PBN to put a price on the property? Like, what do you tend to do?
Definitely, if the property doesn't sell it under the hammer, price by negotiation is the worst method, because you've already done a no price campaign. And doing another no price campaign, you're just firing the pistol in the air and expecting a different outcome. People have rejected that and they said, no, we want to see the price. But once you put a price, don't just spray and pray and go home and forget about it. Monitor the campaign, how the campaign is progressing. How, there are so much data available. I mean, you are an amazing person. You always find out how the data is looking and how we should progress, what's working in the marketing, and you always guide us with that, Craig. So that's important as well. That part that if we price the property at 1.2 million, Mr. and Mrs. Sellers, in the next 4 days we'll discuss if the phone is ringing. That's perfect. That's what we want. But if it's not ringing, then that just means that we might have to realign the price a little bit.
And you got to move quick.
Exactly. Strike the iron when it's hot.
Is some of the language you've used just in this catch up is super good. Like, were you were you a writer, or what did you do before real estate to have such good command of language, Harsh?
Writer, wow. Yeah, no, I was actually working at McDonald's, Manukau City. I was flipping patties.
Wow.
I think when I wasn't a very good in terms of, I don't know how I became an auctioneer as well, but I wasn't very good in public speaking. And then, of course, there was a lot of learning that went into play in those 7.5 years. The first year was all about just understanding and learning what to say, how to say, and not just rock up there with less information. You should have more information than your clients. So, yeah.
What's your favorite burger?
Big Mac.
Why is it your favorite? I mean, Big Macs don't taste incredibly, awesome. But like, what's the secret? Why the Big Mac?
You said tastes incredibly awesome. Why do I feel that was a sarcasm?
Well, I'm on this whole gluten-free kind of buzz at the moment, Ash. So I'm just I've hit 40 at that midlife. Like, I've got to look after myself. But there's something about McDonald's, like, it's almost a perfect product. And it's not because of the product, if you know what I mean. It's about the marketing.
There are two things that I must say that I learned from there. One is the structure. Everything has a structure. You just can't work without a structure in place. The second is the marketing. You're absolutely right. I've actually made a TikTok video, and I tell my clients when they say, "Oh, our house doesn't need good marketing; it can sell it itself." We've got a house with the views, perfect, win-win. I always said to them that, Mr. and Mrs. Window, what if I say today that let's have a nice burger? What would you think? And what's the first burger company that comes to your mind is McDonald's, right? Then you start thinking about other brands. But do you know there is a best burger that is made by a takeaway down the road? And they are like, yeah, no, we don't know. I said, because they are not the best marketed burgers.
Yeah.
Because they have put in such a way, and I'm loving it, is the quote that they have. It's such a good, instilled in your brain that you just can never forget about it. It's the first thing that comes to your mind is the yellow arch. So
what I didn't want to do in this conversation, right, is like potentially people watching this have been thinking about real estate. Maybe they're on a Monday to Friday and looking to go, I've always been interested in property. Like, I didn't want to scare them off by talking, buyer's market, and it's a harder market to work in. What about starting up as a real estate agent? Like, in our parting remarks, what would be your advice to those people?
We had a very successful real estate career so far. And I started in a tough market. And I've always believed tough market is a way to go. It's the way to start real estate. In an easy market, anyone who has even a driver's license was selling property. But in tough market, you get to see the negotiation skills, the marketing skills in real time. Brainstorm and all these things, they come and play when you are put under pressure as an agent. So this is a perfect learning market. Come in, because anyone who can work, who is ready to work hard, put effort, time, sweat in it, I don't see any other industry that can take you if you really put your effort in. Well, I only know real estate, so I'm going to put, if I can do it, anyone can do it.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, sky is the limit. You
Yeah.
know, there's no denying a fact. Which, if you are ready to put your heart and soul and 100 hours a week in the first year to set yourself up, because it's a business within the business. If you open a takeaway, imagine the amount of hours that you're going to put in. So why are we hesitant in real estate? So 100%, if you are a young gun, or even if you're new who's thinking about doing real estate, if you have the energy, do it.
How many hours are you and Ash kind of put into your business at the moment, like in a typical work week?
Typical work week, I try to take only half day off, which is Friday evening. But apart from that, because of course Saturday, Sundays it's a pretty big day for us, back-to-back open homes, and then buyers, negotiations, whole lot of things happening, offers. But I would say somewhere around 80 to 90 hours still. But that's just because that's not something that you have to put in after 7 years or 8 years. You can put in less hours, but I'm a workaholic and I don't have any commitments right now, so that allows me to go all out.
I want to ask you, and I'm sorry, I did say it was last question, but I just want to talk about marketing, right? How important is a floor plan?
Very important, actually. It's a very, very good question. Visualization is everything in real estate. Staging, floor plan. How will you describe a purchaser who's sitting on the other corner of the Auckland city, maybe someone calling you from West Auckland or maybe Kumu or somewhere around there, and wants to know how the layout is? You're not going to go in and start explaining next to the kitchen there is a bathroom. Floor plan just helps you in putting every piece of information out there. You know, you have to use 100% of the resources these days to get 100% of the outcome. So floor plan is 100%. It's a must.
You might as well plug yourself. Anyone looking to sell in the South Auckland, East Auckland area, who are they calling?
Harsh Kathuria. Dimesh and Harsh, give us a call anytime. We are available anytime and take your calls. Apart from the podcast that we are doing, I'm not taking any phone calls, but I'm sure Ash is taking the phone calls.
What's the number?
0211 951 991.
If anyone's thinking about getting into real estate, Harsh, are we going to offer some of your time and mentorship? Is that part of the deal if they come on board with New Age?
100%. I love training and telling people what to do, what not to do when you're a real estate agent. And of course, even I was crossing a new agent who was preparing yesterday for his first appraisal. And I did tell him that, hey, look, it's good you've prepared all this, but I gave him a whole lot of information that he needed, and he was pretty confident. And I did ask him today, and he said, went bloody well, so he was happy. Awesome. So I think that is information is important, because we are in the market real time always, and staying ahead of the curve is very important, and understanding what's happening in the area.
I think I know the person you're speaking about, and for any other chefs out there, you have the life skills in terms of just that drive and that push, and instead of standing in front of a stove all day, man, it could be a good career choice for you. And we've got a good, hopefully you can pick up from watching the podcast with Harsh and I, that we're a good team and we've got some good energy. Give me a call anytime. You're so welcome to talk to me. I've got a coffee machine in every branch. I've certainly got a good one here. Let me make you coffee. It's 021 190 1763. And next time on the Property Podcast at New Age Realty, we are going to be talking to the auctioneer that Harsh mentioned, and we're going to be garnering some insights from his 20 plus years, I would say, Harsh.
Yeah, close to 20 years, I think.
I mean, he's looking at I
don't want to tell his age, but yeah.
Until next time, I'll talk to you again soon. Thank you.
Thank you.